It's one thing to deal with underperforming employees and holding them accountable. But how about holding high-performing employees accountable for behavioral issues? That can be quite difficult. We'll talk about that today. In the recent past, I created a video on dealing with underperforming employees. Some leaders actually have challenges in that area, holding people accountable to meeting the standard for what is acceptable performance in a given role. I have a video for that if that's a challenge you're facing. Today I want to talk about what I think is even a thornier issue for some leaders, and that's dealing with highly performing employees who are having other issues that don't seem to impact them, but impact others around them. You might want an example. In 1987, Paul O'Neill took over Alcoa. The company at the time was not performing well, and people were looking forward to O'Neill's turnaround plan for the company. After taking over the reins of the CEO position, they held an event for investors and journalists at a hotel near Wall Street. At the event, as many in the audience sat with high anticipation, waiting for O'Neill's big turnaround plan, what they heard was that he wanted to focus on worker safety. He said, "I want to talk to you about worker safety." People were aghast. They couldn't believe that this was his turnaround plan, focusing on worker safety. Alcoa was actually already a very safe company.
I'm going to begin saying that it's Alcoa's objective that people who work for Alcoa will never be hurt at work. So our goal is going to be zero.
Now, this did not bowl over the investors and journalists in the audience, but he had another motive, and that was to focus on process and efficiency, which would be required with a focus on safety. But he knew that he could galvanize everyone behind the focus on safety as opposed to, we're going to improve efficiency. Sure, Wall Street likes that, but employees, they don't get very excited about that message. Whereas ensuring our safety, everybody can get behind that. Or not. There was a rule around this new initiative that if there was an injury, that O'Neill would be notified, and then there would be an investigation. There was an incident at the operation in Mexico. No one died, but it was serious, and it was supposed to be triggering a call to O'Neill. Instead, the high-flying leader of the operation in Mexico did not notify O'Neill. It was only after the fact that O'Neill found out about it at a shareholder meeting. They investigated, found out that it was true. Within 2 days, he had fired the high-performing executive. Some may have found this hard to believe. He was leading a highly performing operation. They were meeting or exceeding expectations financially. But he chose to flout a very important rule that O'Neill had put throughout the company. So he had to hold him accountable. Are you able to hold a high flyer accountable when they're meeting or exceeding expectations? They're a role model for execution and driving results, but not a role model for behavioral issues that are affecting other people. This is really challenging. I recall some time back when I had a client who was a leader preparing to succeed the CEO. Had a 360 done, and the 360 said that they didn't seem to hold everyone accountable equally. My client looked deep and had to admit that it was true. They were not holding everyone equally accountable. And there were some extenuating circumstances there, but the reality is they were being looked at and judged based on their unwillingness to hold everyone equally accountable to the same standard. You are being watched. We're in an environment now where People are looking at you more than ever before, and they're expecting you to do the right thing. The era of getting away with bad behavior because you're meeting your numbers, largely behind us. So if you're facing a situation like this and you've let it go maybe for a little too long, it's probably time that you leaned into this part of effective leadership. I hope this video encourages you to take the tough stance, to take the high road and deal with someone as a whole person. And don't overlook bad behavior because their performance is so great in other metrics. If this video has inspired you or challenged you, I hope you'll like it, comment on it, or share it with others. And of course, subscribe to the channel. More leadership videos will be on the way based on my years of executive coaching experience. If you believe that executive coaching for you or someone who works for you could be a way to take them to a higher level of effective leadership, I'd love to talk with you. I also work with teams to help teams work better together and perform at a much higher level, creating something of a role model team for the rest of the organization to emulate. Visit my website, BAECExecutivecoach.com, or send me an email at michael@BAECExecutivecoach.com. Let's schedule time to talk. Thank you very much.